A couple of days ago, I was watching this debate, and if you're wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses, it's because despite getting only like 4 hours of sunlight every single day, and I'm at the point where even getting out of bed takes more energy than I usually have, at least during those 4 hours, the sun shines in a way that I am not able to record a video because it fucking blinds me, so I need the glasses. But anyways, I was watching the debate where it was Geoffrey Various Schofield debating with that, I think she was called Scientist Snitch or Scientific Snitch or something. Basically, it's the woman who is talking about some study that they've done on men over 35% body fat, and she was pulling that up on why bulking isn't good, which is already a really funny claim. But what I want to talk about is that during the debate, after like 2-3 minutes into the debate, the guy who was hosting the debate asked him, "Hey, like, what do you recommend? What do you think is the right thing to do?" And she started off with, "Okay, so first, you need to calculate your daily energy expenditure with an online TDEE calculator." And that's exactly where she lost me, because these calculators do not work. They have never worked. And I cannot fathom how there are still people out there who are making videos who are supposed to be people who like understand science, who make these sort of claims that, okay, it works, and the first thing you need to do is calculate your TDEE with one of those calculators. And you could see this through the entire episode or podcast or whatever, that she wasn't really in this world. And by the way, this is a side note, but that is really the problem with a lot of the science-based people, is they go like this: hey, this is what's good on paper. And when you ask them like, hey, okay, but what about when you try to implement that into reality? And they're like, this is what's good on the paper. Like they just repeat themselves, and they do not understand that what is on the paper is not always the same as the reality. Yes, we have the calculators, and yes, they are supposed to work, but when in reality you try them, do they work? No. Like every single person who says this sort of shit clearly has never tried or is a super extreme outlier, because they work for almost nobody. And while I understand that not everybody knows that, that's why I'm making this video, because you might not have known that, but now you know. But at least somebody who makes content should know that they do not work. They just don't work, and they never have. And somebody could come with the argument that, yeah, of course, they are not gonna be perfect, but at least they give you a sort of guideline. No, they can be off with as much as like 1,000 calories. It's not possible to just calculate that, because everybody has a different metabolism. And I have the perfect story for that, because I used to have a friend, I mean, he's still my friend. At some point in time, we were almost the exact same height. Like, we had the exact same stats, pretty much. He was like half an inch shorter than me. We were the exact same weight, almost the same body fat. He was a little bit lower body fat, I think, than me, which means that he was a bit more muscular, which means that he should have had a little bit higher of a TDE. So he should have had to eat more calories than me because of that. We are the same age, and we were at the time having the same activity level. Not only the same activity level, we were at some point in time literally doing the same workout program. And this was back then when I was measuring my food, and he started measuring his food as well. And guess who was eating more? Me. And guess by how much? Like 1,000 calories. This guy, when I would cut the same amount of calories that I would cut on, it would be his bulking calories. If this guy would have eaten my maintenance calories, he would have gotten obese in like 3 months. And I vividly remember how much he would struggle when he would try to cut. Like, he would try to cut, and he would be like trying to come up with strategies of bicycling into the town like fucking 3 times to burn I don't know how many calories, because he just, otherwise he couldn't eat like anything. And then while this was happening, I was there stuffing my face with like 4,000 calories, bulking, and being like, oh, fuck, I hate eating this much. And we were the exact same stats. The only thing different was that he was a bit more muscular than me, which would indicate that he would have to eat more than me, not less. So again, and the difference was like over 1,000 calories. So that really proves that these calculators, They don't do shit. They don't know shit. They don't even give you a guideline because the difference can be so big that it doesn't mean anything. And on top of that, people will say that, oh, you will need to add 100 calories to that. So you will need to be in a 100 calorie surplus. And they will just say that and bulk like that. Well, that doesn't mean anything because a 100 calorie surplus is completely different to some woman who's like 4'8" and is like really, really tiny and needs like 1,500 calories, when at the same time there is a guy who needs like 3,500 calories just to maintain his body weight because he's really fucking tall and has a lot of muscle mass. Like that 100 calorie surplus literally doesn't mean anything because it's going to be completely different for a person who normally eats 1,500 calories and a person who eats 3,500. And this also doesn't take into consideration that most people will never measure their foods, or even if they will do it for like a month and then they will quit. Because it's not sustainable. This is coming from somebody who has done it for over a year straight. And over several years, I have done it a lot of times. Like I have done it through multiple years on and off. And I stopped it too because it's not sustainable. It's bad. It really fucking sucks. It takes away all of your freedom when it comes to food. And you know what's the funny thing about it? It doesn't really help you that much. I haven't used a scale to measure my food in like, what, a year and a half, and I made the best gains so far in my life. But okay, what do we do if the TDEE calculators do not work? Well, it's really easy. You don't have to complicate it at all. You just measure your body weight. That is what I do. If you really just want to figure out your maintenance calories and then you're just going to measure it and going to eat that, what you should do is you start at a certain calorie amount and you measure yourself every single day, and you do that for like, what, a week or maybe 2 weeks, and then you see what happens with your weight. Does it go up? Does it go down? Does it maintain? If it maintains, congratulations, you found your maintenance. If it went down, you add a little bit and then you do it again, and you do that until you get to a point where consistently for like 2-3 weeks you're the same body weight and you're taking the average of a week. Because if you just measure yourself every single day and you're like, oh, today I was a half a pound heavier than yesterday, that doesn't mean anything. Your weight will fluctuate, so you will need weekly averages. Even those are pretty unreliable in my experience. But of course you don't want to spend half of your lifetime just figuring out your maintenance. But if you maintain your body weight with the same amount of food for like 2-3 weeks, it's probably safe to say that that is gonna be a good amount of food to maintain your body weight. But most people are not even going to want to measure their food anyway, so I will just tell you what I do. And I have said that before, I made a video about it and I will just link it here in the corner. But now I will say it again. What I do is I measure my body weight every single morning. I have this scale here. I don't even have to write it in, it's just like a smart scale. It connects with Bluetooth to my phone, so I literally just stand in it and it's gonna be there on my phone. It puts it into Apple Health, and in Apple Health I will see my monthly average every single month based on all of the measurements. And I knew how much I want to gain every month, so I knew how much I will have to weigh every single month. And with that I see where I stand and I have a baseline of how much I usually eat. And if there is a big change in my body weight, or I see that the average is like over or under, I will just eat more or less based on that. It's really not complicated at all, and it barely takes any effort. And you always look at the monthly averages, and that way it really doesn't even matter if you cannot measure yourself every single day, because even if you can measure yourself like 4 times a week, if you take the monthly average of that, that is still gonna be pretty accurate. And it's very, very easy to manipulate your food based on that. So for example, right now it's the middle of the month, I think it's the 16th. Yeah, it's the 16th of February. So I got like 1/3 of the month left and I'm a little bit over what I will have to be this month. So now, today, I will just eat a little bit less. And then if I would be under by a little bit, guess what I would do today? Eat more. And then tomorrow, if I'm still under it, I will eat a little bit more again. And based on how many days I will have left until the end of the month where I will have to have that average, based on that, I can decide how much more I will have to eat. If I will have to eat like an extra 300 calories today, which by the way, again, I do not measure. I would just like roughly eyeball it and know how much it is. But I will see whether I will have to have an extra little snack or if I will have to have an extra whole ass fucking meal. So the TDEE calculators don't work, and you don't have to torture yourself with measuring your food and with trying to calculate all of that shit. It's much easier than that. You can just follow the method that I laid out right now, and you will have a much more comfortable and enjoyable life, and you will make great gains in the process. So there's all there was here today. Click here to watch my last video, and peace.